speaking of delusional lefty mayors, New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani this week got some backlash after his attempt to ask for donations from voters.
A lot of these things are new, but one of them is pretty old: fundraising. But why are we fundraising? Well, we have less than 50 days until we take office, and we have a lot to do. You've already been incredible. We've raised more than $1 million in just 2 weeks. Our average donation is around $77, and more than 12,000 of you have donated so far, which is much lower than the last administration's transition. But we're still asking for your help because we need to raise $4 million in total, so January 1st can be the day we start to deliver, not start to prepare. I hope very soon not to have to ask you for money, but until then, I'm asking.
Alex, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I thought his entire campaign was built on everything is free. Now it seems there is actually a cost to all this free stuff.
I know, it is very hypocritical. I thought the buses are going to free. I thought there's going to be free grocery stores. And now he's out here e-begging for money because his campaign is not bringing in as much as the last one. So Mamdani, the disaster's starting early. I think it's going to be a disaster the whole entire time. But I don't want the people of New York to be scared because really and truly, Bill de Blasio is a horrible mayor. You know, Eric Adams wasn't a great mayor either. So Mamdani, he's untalented. He's 34 years old. He's got absolutely no experience. But compared to the last people, I don't know how much worse he can be. And I really don't think he's going to be able to get Sharia law in New York City, one of the highest populated Jewish cities in the world. So I think he's going to get a lot of pushback. And I do think during his administration, he's not going to get as much done as people might think.
Oh, well, let's hope he can't push through Sharia law. It's amazing that one of the highest Jewish population cities managed to elect him as well. Look, he's set to also meet with the president tomorrow. How do you think that's actually going to play out?
Well, it's going to be awkward, that's for sure. It is going to be awkward. And I think, but Donald Trump, though, and this is one of his good things and one of his faults, is that Donald Trump wants to be liked by the left. And I think he wants to be liked by the people in the city of New York. So I wouldn't be surprised if Donald Trump doesn't try to kind of extend an olive branch and at least give him the opportunity to stab him in the back, maybe give him the benefit of the doubt at the beginning of the relationship and then kind of wait to see when Mamdani fails. Because, you get a lot farther with sugar than you do vinegar. And I do think that Donald Trump will be nice to him. But once that situation sours, Donald Trump is going to have all, Mohammed, Mamdani. He's going to have all kinds of nicknames for this guy. So he better be very careful when he's dealing with President Trump.
Yeah, I suspect you're dead right. He's all bluster. But when he meets in person, he's very charming. He will come after you, though. If Mamdani pushes forward with some of these socialist proposals, no doubt Trump is coming after him. As you know, though, Michelle Obama, well, she's been busy on her tour of grievance, this time complaining about how tough life is and was as a first lady. Well, here's her latest whinge.
That little 8-year stint as first lady tends to confine. Mm-hmm. To be a bit confining, right? Because, that the role, the job was not to just represent me, but to represent the nation. Mm-hmm. And as the first Black family in that house, just like, Black folks feel in all the first positions, that we're we're carrying the torch, we're lighting the way, which means that we've got to do it really, really well. Mm-hmm.
So now she says she felt confined as the First Lady. I mean, Alex, spare me. It's why she's being interviewed in the first place.
Spare me is exactly right. I mean, you were the first Black First Lady in, American history. There's no reason to be a victim. And, I don't really like Barack Obama, but let's just admit that he's got aura, he's got swag, he's a great, orator. And when he talks, he doesn't constantly sound like a victim. I don't know why Michelle doesn't copy her husband and use some of the public speaking skills that he has, because every time that she goes out and does an interview, she either embarrasses him, she embarrasses herself, or she embarrasses her brother, who was her podcast host and I think had to quit. So Michelle Obama has a victimhood disorder where she feels like even though she's one of the most successful Black women in American history, she's still a victim somehow. So I really hope that she's not a role model for young Black women, that when they have success, do not go and complain about it on podcasts constantly. Nobody wants to hear that. So, Michelle Obama, copy Barack, please.
On the other hand, it does provide us with endless content on shows like this, Alex, so maybe she shouldn't stop anytime soon. Look, finally, Democratic Californian State Senator Scott Walker, he's proposed new legislation this week called the No Kings Act, which would make it easier for residents to sue immigration officials for violating their constitutional right. Walker is running to replace retiring Nancy Pelosi's House seat. How do you think he'll go with ideas like this?
You know, honestly, they say illegal immigrants can't vote because that's what he's basing his whole entire campaign, is that he hopes that these illegal immigrants, I guess with no voter ID laws, can go vote for him. Because I'm telling you, this is a bipartisan issue. People don't want illegal immigrants taking their jobs from them. That's the problem. It's like, in theory, we think that we're countries competing against each other, but that's not the truth. It's really just citizens within America competing with each other to get jobs. And once you bring in all this illegal immigration, these companies can pay them so much less, and it just makes it much, much harder to get a job. So I think this is a bipartisan effort to actually shut down the border and to, you know, clean up our country. And I know that, you know, the media might not give you that impression, but trust me, there's a lot of leftists that are sick and tired of illegal immigrants hitting them in their car, not having insurance, causing them all kinds of issues. They see their, you know, crime is up. It's just, when it comes down to ICE agents, they're not the problem. It's leadership like this that wants to protect the illegal immigrants, and not the hardworking, you know, American police force that is trying to make our country a safer place.
That is certainly not the impression that we're getting from many of the mainstream media outlets over there. So thanks for shining some light on what people are really thinking. Alex Stein, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you guys for having me.